Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Adams Rite 1000-21-16 in a 130 finish. This is a thumb turn that is their 1000 series thumb turn that is in a specific length, that is in a specific orientation on the back of the cylinder, on the back of the thumb turn as well, in a 130 finish, which means aluminum, complementary to a sprayed aluminum type color. Now let's dissect what this is. When you order one of these thumb turns, why are you ordering one? Well, you are probably replacing one that's been damaged or broken, or just fatigued with time. Everything wears out. And this is the 1000. Specifically, it is a 2116. Now, what does that mean to us? There's a link below this video, a number of links. First one is datasheet. There is a link below this video to a document called datasheet. We're going to dissect the part number, because that, with Adams Rite, that always helps you to understand immediately what you're dealing with, but what are all the other options? It's a way by which you can, in a reverse fashion, figure out, oh, this is what I need. Okay, so the 1000 is a thumb turn. The dash 21 is the turn type. See the drawings to the right. That means that it is a perpendicular drive, which means the orientation of the tailpiece is horizontal, or what they call perpendicular. Okay? That is important to know because how the thumb turn will turn to lock and unlock obviously is connected to the horizontal initial orientation of the cylinder. The lock body that you're using this on is going to have been manufactured for the application, meaning when you throw the hook out to lock it and then to retract it, you want to be able to be sure that you can throw that thumb turn so that it actually rotates correctly and doesn't hit trim on the frame or something on the door, or forces you to install it so that it's hanging out like this automatically. Okay? So you need to study the nature of the lock body hub when it's at rest to see exactly how that's going to work. And if you need to envision it in your mind's eye, take a screwdriver and turn it, knowing that it's going to be what they call perpendicular, just horizontal. Okay? And that's why they'll do that. But also the 21 tells you that you're getting an escutcheon, because if you were to order the 02, you'll get a perpendicular orientation of your tailpiece, but it will just it'll just have a washer underneath, no escutcheon plate. They're equally common, but I think the 21 or the 11 are more common. The 11 is with an escutcheon and then a parallel drive where that tailpiece is going to be vertical. Okay, now the 16 in the part number, that it refers to the length of the tailpiece. There's a chart right above on the second page that tells us the 16 is a 15/64 inch length endeavor from the face of the escutcheon to the back of the tailpiece. This is going to be roughly 7/8. Roughly. It's 55/64. I said that wrong. 55/64. So it's, you know, going to be closer to 13/16. So I'm not necessarily doing the math in my head, but keeping in mind where, 60/64 is going to be. So, you're going to be 55/64. You could convert that into a decimal if you wanted, and maybe work that way if you had a caliper. 1 divided by 64 times 55, that would give you the decimal equivalent. If you had one in your hand, you said, I have no idea what to order that. If you had a caliper, you could order it. You could also order one that's longer, and you could cut it. So keep in mind that is possible as well. You don't want to stress this material in here, this retaining washer that's here, or what's called the push nut. you would want to very carefully cut that without straining that, because that's all assembled and it's not meant to be put under the forces of trimming something. You could probably get yourself some needle nose, or have someone hold it with needle nose, and then get in there with a quick little die grinder sort of cut, a mini grinder with a very thin kerf wheel. So that tells us the part number. The last part is the finish. 130, that's going to be to match 628 finish. A 119 is black. A 121 is dark brown. You can do those in any of those fashions. So the data sheet that's there, especially page 1, is going to really help you determine what this gizmo needs to look like, what the orientation of the tailpiece needs to look like, depending on the lock type that you have. So if you looked at the MS 1847-09, bottom right of page 1, lock bolt is extended and the solid line will be the orientation of the thumb turn. It may not seem like it matters to you, and it may not really matter. But they do it this way to get the trim away from possible conflict with the frame or something possibly on the door. Okay, and then you'll take note of the parallel drive as well. So just study that. And if you have any questions, you can send us photographs and we'll help you determine what's needed. There's also a link to a document called Installation Guide, which it's the same information, except that if you're approaching this trim from a new lock installation perspective, it will tell you where the holes need to be drilled, all 3 of these, in relationship to the lock body itself. Actually, don't think that it tells us in relationship to the lock body. In fact, it does not. We'd have to refer to the lock template to find out where the center line is to be of this unit, or the center reference point, probably of the tailpiece. There's also a document called How to Order, and that's very much the same information, in a more consolidated, easy to understand fashion, I would argue. Okay. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Adams Rite products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. But the most important document I think that's there is the one that's called Parts Manual. There's one better for printing and one better for viewing. I think the one better for printing is better for viewing. But the point is you can find all of the piece parts that would go along with this lock in its top level scenario, like if you were buying all of the parts. And do be mindful with Adams Rite, everything is separate. You may have noticed that the screws were not presented here. They're not included with the 1021-16-130. So that parts diagram will allow you to get to where you can determine, yeah, I do need a couple of screws, etc., things of that nature. If you have any questions on the Adams Rite 1000-21-16-130, thumb turn only, or any other Adams Rite product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.